Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. I'm so glad you could join me today. I have a card for you that is a Get Well card, very pretty little card, inspired by a card I received from one of my team members, Lucinda Veek Gosden, and I featured her cards here before. She goes by Frabjous Cards, and she has both a blog and she has a Facebook page. And she's participated in our blog hops and does quite a lovely job. So let's just get started. Here is Lucinda's card. She did hers as a slimline. So this one is 4 inches by 9 inches, and it says Get Well Soon on the outside, and on the inside it says You Matter. And she's put daisies and white daisy and yellow daisy, and then the 2 sunflower cards. Well, I wanted to make one that was more of a standard size card, and so I eliminated the daisies from mine and did one that was just the sunflower cards, and I've made a couple of versions of it. On this one I used the sprig punch for these items, which actually fit almost a little bit better on this size card. And on this one, I used the dies that came with the set. Let me show you what we're working with here. This is the stamp set: large sunflower, small sunflower, large leaves, small leaves. And then I used the dies, and I used this big die to cut out my big stamped image, this little die to cut out this image, these 2 things here to cut out these sprigs that go with the set, and this large leaf and a couple of small leaves. And so that's what I've used. Now my sentiments are coming from Blossoms in Bloom, Thinking of You, and Get Well Soon, because they both had the same font, and it looked, and maybe because of the gingham, the block look of the letters seemed to work pretty well with this one. And then I've used some of our twine here to go around the card and give us that texture kind of look. So this is the card we're making today, and what we need to make this card, I'll put these up in the corner, is I've got a basic white base that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Then I've got 2 pieces of 3 3/4 by 5. One, I'm going to anchor these 2 pieces so I can use smaller pieces of these on the front, and then one to go on the inside of the card. On one of these, we didn't put any kind of a background on it, and I really liked the way it looked better when it's outlined a little bit more, and then I put a few more things on the inside. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now then you need a pretty large piece of basic white to do your stamping on, because we've got this flower, 2 of these flowers, this flower, 2 of these, a couple of these, and you need a little piece of scrap of the mossy meadow is what I cut those out of. Now when I did my coloring of my leaves, I actually used Old Olive light and dark with my blends. But let's just go ahead and get going here. So I've got my Memento ink here, and I've got my large flower, which I'm going to go ahead, and when your stamp is big like this, it's easier to take your stamp pad to the image and then do your stamping. And so I'm going to stick my flower right up here in the corner so I leave as much room for everything else as I possibly can. What a surprise, the dimensional back They get everywhere. All right, so I think I've put pressure all the way around. Nice image. Excellent. Now we need 2 of this. Actually, we need 3 of this one. So I'm going to put 1 here. That didn't come out very well. 1 here. And I'm going to grab some more. Well, what's going on? I'm not getting this inked up properly. So we need several of these flowers. We need 3 of these. And then we need several of these leaves. So I'll just tuck those around here where I can find some room. And since these are both not great, I will put another 1 or 2 of those on the back. And then I have this little double leaf here that, let's see, I guess I can get that in here. I'm just not getting these inked up properly. There we go. That's a little bit more like it. Anyway, so there are my images ready to be colored. Now, what I have done is I used Daffodil Delight, I used Mango Melody, I used Soft Suede, then my blends for coloring here. And I'm going to put the memento away for the moment. And I'm going to show you what I did to color this. I have a couple of daubers here, and one for the Daffodil Delight. And what I'm going to do is just get my leaves colored using my dauber here. And it doesn't bother me if it goes a bit outside the leaves, because this die cuts fairly close, and a little halo of yellow isn't going to hurt anything. In fact, I think it's pretty. So we'll just keep going here and get my leaves, or my petals for my flower, completely covered. And I'm going to go ahead and do the center because I think it adds some depth to the brown later. And get the outer petals of my flower done here. And get that color down. Now, on these, I'm going to do that same thing. So on this one, I just need to be careful that I don't go too far into those leaves because I don't want to contaminate the green. So I'm going to just kind of go along those edges and then get my color down here on the rest of my flower. There we go. Then I took the Mango Melody and used it to darken the center of the flower because I thought it added some nice depth. So I'm just adding and moving from the center out some of this Mango Melody on the inside of my flower. And when I look at sunflowers, they look a little bit like that to me, that the color is more concentrated in the center and is just a tiny bit paler as it goes out towards those ends. And I'm going to do that same thing with these smaller flowers, getting just a little bit more color depth to the inside of these and leaving them just a tiny bit paler to the outside of those flowers. And it doesn't bother me at all if we get a little in the center. Okay, so next I have another dauber here and for my soft suede, and I am coloring the insides of these flowers here, these big centers. And I'm doing that in the soft suede, because when you look at the sunflowers, that's the way they are. Their centers are very dark brown, and soft suede was doing it for me here. And then the centers kind of disappear into this this image. So I took a little bit of crumb cake and I just went around the edges of the rim of that center. And you can do it in soft suede, but it's pretty dark. So I just did that, and it makes the effect of making these centers look like they're sort of popping out. It adds dimension to add that color. And I noticed that Lucinda had done that on hers. And so here I'm adding that all around the center of my flower. And there, isn't that pretty? So that is what we did to get these done. Now, to save, oh, let me show you what I did on the leaves. So on the leaves, I took the brush end of my blend and I colored in the leaves. Now, they've got a lot of shading here with the marks that they've got on the leaves, and you could just leave them like that. I decided that I wanted a little bit more contrast in those leaves. So what I did was, after I colored my leaves in the light, I went in with the dark old olive and I just enhanced some of those markings that they left on the inside of those leaves. Nothing fancy, just getting a little bit of that stripe of that darker leaf, and I think it adds a little dimension. Now, I did the same thing to the small leaves that I did, and to save a little bit of time, I've already colored and cut mine out. So there are my pieces. And I've got lots of extras here in case we need them, but I've got my big flower, and we need 3 of these flowers. One for the, I guess we just need 2. One for the front and one for the inside. Then we need 3 of these flowers or leaves, and I cut 2 of these smaller ones for use. I used a big one on the inside here, and I think I might have preferred a small one. Then I cut several of these sprigs to put around on our flower, and I think we are about ready to go. So also we need a piece of this gingham. Any black and white pattern I think would work with this. This gingham came from that Pattern Party, which is a host paper set and the catalog, and which means that your order has to be 150 or more to get it, and you can only buy it with Stampin' Rewards. But it's a heck of a buy, because this is a mega pack of paper. And so this piece is 3 inches by 4 inches, and this one is 2.5 by 4. Now, what I've done is I cut 2 pieces of 3 3/4 by 5, one to go on the inside of our card, and one to put these 2 pieces on, because it's a little, I found it a little unstable to get these on here and get them exactly where I want them if I'm just laying them down on the card. So I preferred to put them on here. So on this, all I'm going to do is just add a bit of snail to the back of this and get it put on here. Now it's probably easier to do it from the back side, isn't it? Because I kind of wanted that on the inside, so that when I go to place that on my card, you can't see it, but it will make this a little bit easier to do. Then this piece needs to be added here, and we just need to figure out, I want this to be 4¼ by 4 by 5¼ and so these pieces are 4, and there I've got it set down so that would be at 5¼ so I could see that it needs to be put just slightly under this little last row of black. So I'm going to add some seal to the back of this, and I'm going to add quite a bit of seal. This is heavily textured and I want to make sure that that sits. So I'm going to put it about halfway down that next little block there and see how that does. Yep, that's just about right. Okay, now then, I have some twine, and I put 3 pieces of twine across here on the black, and if you follow me, you know I like to have ribbon or twine or something on most of my cards just because it adds just that extra texture, and I think it balances cards out. And you want contrast in your colors, and I've got the black and white, the yellow, and the green, so we've got 3 colors. And then I like a bit of texture on my card. Now we got some texture by running this piece of black through the bark embossing folder. And now I'm going to add some seal right along this edge so that I can put my twine across here. And of course it's all curly, so I'm going to set it here, and I want it to be just on the bottom of the card here and just underneath the beginning of the black. And so I'll stretch that across and then anchor it down to the back, and then grab my next piece of twine and do that a couple more times. Now, this is going to get held more in place a couple of different ways. One of the things I'm going to do is use a couple of glue dots. But first I want to get my flowers placed on here. So I'm going to have my big flower right up in here with a couple of these larger leaves, maybe here, here, and here, with some of these sprigs. And my experience tells me that I really don't need much more. Now, Lucinda used the whole sprigs on hers, but again, she's doing a slimline card, so we're fairly compressed. But so I'm thinking a couple of these up here at the top, and then maybe a couple right down here. And then this flower right down in here, and then this one for the inside, the 2 little leaves for the inside, and some sprigs. And then we also need to do a little stamping for our sentiment. So I have, I've got a little scrap of white, and that is going to take the Thinking of You stamp. And that's not on there straight, so I'm gonna pick it up again. And for this I need my memento, and I'm going to put my Thinking of You right here in the center. Still not on there straight. But that'll work. And then I used my Stitch So Sweetly dies, and I took this tiniest of the scallops and it just fits that sentiment. So we'll use this to put our sentiment on. While we're stamping, I'm thinking that we're going to put our get well message on this piece of card for the inside, and I'm going to make a little cushion here because I don't have a cushion with me. So I'm going to get my get well soon, and I think I want that right up here on the inside. Get well soon. Perfect. And that takes care of our stamping. So now I can put away my ink, and we can move on to putting our card together. So this piece is going to require some dimensionals. So I've got my large flower getting ready to go on, I think right about there. And then my small flower, this small flower, I'm going to place right here with its little leaves pointing down. And then on these pieces, I'm going to add some snail, and I'm going to tuck this one up in the corner here, like that. And then these other two, and I think that adds some dimension because the flower is raised and the leaves are not. So there we go, adding that. Then on these pieces here, I'm thinking that I left enough room with those dimensionals that we should be able to get a couple of these tucked in up here, and if it hangs out over to the white part of the card, I think I'm pretty good with that. So I'm going to pick this up and put this one in place right there. And there we've got all of that leaf detail on the top. Now then, we've got leaf detail to take care of on the bottom here, and I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to cut these pieces off. Now when Lucinda was doing her card, because it was 9 inches long, she had plenty of room for these things to just hang down and up the top, but when you're doing a card this size, that's not going to work. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to tuck them right underneath here, and they're going to help hold my twine in place because of where I'm placing them. Just like that. And then here is my Thinking of You, which I cut out using that Stitch So Sweetly die. And then I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this one. And that sentiment is going to go right down here on the bottom. All right, then the next thing I need to do for the front of my card is to put my bow in place here, and I'm going to use a couple of glue dots. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my glue dots and I'm going to put it underneath my twine and let that twine just get anchored onto that glue dot. And then I'm going to take another glue dot and I'm going to fold it over on itself like that and put it right on top of that other one. Now then, I'm going to take my twine and I'm going to make a triple strand bow. So I need 3 pieces of twine, and so I'm just going to cut one and then cut the others to match, and then I'm going to pull these tails kind of down and towards the center to get them to come down from the bow, and put this bow into place right on that glue dot. And then I can trim these tails like that, and there we've got our bow in place. Now this part of the card is ready to go on the card base. In fact, I could have done it long before now, but I wanted to put some of the other embellishments on. It's a little easier to put your snail on when the card doesn't have so many pieces on it, but this will work. And so make sure my card is facing the right direction, and then I'm going to set this down on my card front, and then I'll need to do a little bit more embellishing in the end. But let's see about putting the inside of my card together. And so now we're going to add some snail seal to the back of this card. And get that put on my piece of black. Then we have this little scene to create down here. So, and this is pretty much flat, but I'm only going to put my glue in the middle so I can tuck things underneath. So here I had a couple, there they are, a couple of extra little leaves, and I think I am going to tuck one kind of right over on this side. And so I left some room so I could easily tuck that in. There we go. And then I have these little twigs, and I might just add one. And I've got this here, and I'm going to add it right here so that it brings a little bit of this decoration from the outside to the inside. And there we have it. So next, this has to go into the inside of our card. So I'm going to add some seal to the back of this and put this on the inside of our card. And there we go. Isn't that nice? Oh, I just love this little card. Okay, so the next thing we need, I used some of our champagne rhinestones to put on our card front. I've got my take your pick tool here, and I'm going to pick up some of these rhinestones and just dot them around the card. And there we go. I'm going to add one more just because I want to see one. Looks like a drop of dew. Okay, so there we go. That is our card. And you can see on this one, I got the, I didn't get the center as dark as I did on the other one, and I like that better. But I also darkened up this center a little bit more, and I like that as well. So, you know, each one can be coming out just a tiny bit different depending on what you end up doing. But that is my card and my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team. Let's see, this is now July, and my prize draw is the Grapevine Bundle. And it's stamp set and die set, and I'll be doing something with that perhaps this next week, so you can see exactly how it might be used. And it's such a lovely stamp set and die set. I think we can have a lot of fun with that one. So this is my project for the day, and I'll be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye.